Guidonia, June 29, 1942. An exceptional trimotor takes off shortly after 5 in the morning towards Ukraine. It is the beginning of a very important epic journey towards Japan. The flight has two main purposes. The first and most important is to deliver the new encrypted codes. In fact, for radio transmissions of military interest between Italy and Japan, the Italian secret services had reported as extremely probable that the Allied secret services had deciphered the encrypted codes. The second purpose was to trace an air route for a possible bombing of the new Soviet industrial settlements that had been identified as being operational between the Volga and the Urals. Something demonstrative rather than structured, but it required a safe route traced. The flight was undertaken with a special aircraft, the Siai Marchetti SM 75 in the Grande Autonomia variant, which Alessandro Marchetti and his team had prepared in record time with enhanced Alfa Romeo 128 engines, which provided 860 horsepower each, a revised and enhanced structure. So much so as to raise the load limit by almost 2 points, additional tanks, which brought the autonomy in economic cruise to almost 8,000 kilometers, moving between altitudes of 3,500 and 5,000 meters. Something considered impossible in 1942. Enhanced instrumentation so as to be completely independent from any external support in determining the aircraft position. Enhanced and directional radio reception apparatus, so as to be able to establish a remote radio link with Japan once in conditions of relative safety from the Soviet reaction and elude the Anglo-American one. It is an exceptional undertaking, and for this 4 exceptional men were chosen: Lieutenant Colonel Antonio Moscatelli, Captain Publio Magini was the navigator and co-pilot, Captain Pilot Mario Curto. Second Lieutenant Ernesto Mazzotti on the radio and meteorological units. M. Lo Ernesto Leone engineer. Shortly after 2 p.m. they arrive at the airport of Zaporizhzhia in Ukraine, whose name we have also learned to know, in recent years, in the same conditions in which Moscatelli and his men knew it. The plane is prepared, the crew then rests. The next day, a few minutes after 8 o'clock, it takes flight for the undertaking. The first stretch is extremely dangerous, because the SM-75 is overloaded with fuel and cannot even reach 1,000 meters altitude, so slowly and low it faces the lines first and then the Soviet hinterland, which is packed with weapons that can with a single shot transform the aircraft into a deadly torch. The Alphas struggle and heat up, but they are bison. They drag the aircraft forward, undaunted. In fact, immediately the blades of searchlights tear through the night and avalanches of bullets begin their mad races to throw down the trimotor. For a good 160 kilometers, avalanches of fire flood the sky. But the SM-75, as if equipped with a cloak of invulnerability, continues, and the vault of the Volga Delta. Maginni continually takes stock and draws the route that could be useful for subsequent missions. They scrutinize the reference points, take notes, skirt the Caspian Sea, reach the Aral Sea and off towards Lake Balkhash. The three large bodies of water are the first three references. They reach the Altai Mountains and then the Gobi Desert, where Maginni, his special instrumentation and his experience guided the SM-75 in the night darker than ink. They are able to reach Tokyo. But the Japanese force them to land in Manchuria. It is July 1st. It is 5:20 p.m. Why? They ask themselves. They will know immediately after landing that as a result of the demonstration bombing of Tokyo in April by Commander Doolittle, the winner of the Schneider Cup, and his squadron for the USA with 25 twin-engine bombers that, taking off in a truly admirable manner from an aircraft carrier, the Hornet, which the commander himself will say on the radio as the legendary Shangri-La, have demonstrated that Japan is not invulnerable to air attack. This has infuriated the Japanese, who have increased their air defense tenfold. The skies of Japan are now crossed day and night by interceptors ready to shoot down anything non-Japanese that ventures towards the land of the rising sun. So it is necessary to repaint the Siai Marchetti with the Japanese emblems, take on board a Japanese interpreter officer and then, more safely, make the last leap towards Tokyo. On July 3rd at 7 in the morning they leave for the last leap, arriving at the base of Tashikawa. At 17, which later became famous for the failed attempt to stop the bombers that were going to hit Tokyo, causing the immense massacres with their firestorms a few years later, the Italians land in Tokyo. The Italians have mocked the Soviet defenses. They have demonstrated that the route is practicable even flying at low altitude. They have demonstrated that it is also possible to arrive directly from Ukraine to Tokyo in one leap, and only the concomitants of the Shangri-La operation with its aftermath forced them to stop in Manchuria. On July 16th, the aircraft takes off again, stops again in Manchuria to repaint the livery with our emblems, takes off again packed with 21,000 litres of fuel on July 18th. On July 20th, it is in Odessa with its beautiful Italian architecture and immediately takes off again to reach Guidonia, where it arrives shortly before 18 the same day. A complete success.